What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling wonderful today. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just incredible, Cancer. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. So the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Jupiter, wherever, Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old Moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going void of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force reading on a situation, and everything will be fantastic, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Oh, that was a little aggressive, Cancer. It's fine. Because guess what? Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Cancer. And Cancer, happy Thursday. It's Jupiter Day. Hope you're feeling oh, and how lovely that it's Jupiter Day today too, Cancer, because the moon is going void of course and it's going to be entering Sagittarius. But before we jump into that, the moon's going to be going void of course at about a little after midnight, about 9 after midnight, and that's going to be Eastern time. And then we'll be moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius at about 4:07 in the morning. So we're looking at about a 3-hour, 58-minute void of course there time there, Cancer. Thank you. And with the void of course energy, this is great for recharging your batteries, just kind of resetting your energies, with how much we can feel and how much we take on the energies of others. Cancer, it's good to just kind of find yourself again in all this, all these emotions. And this is a really great energy too for just doing some deep breathing and things like that, Cancer. But also, you may notice too that your plans may be subject to unexpected changes during this time. I don't know if you got plans around midnight, Cancer, but I don't know your life. But also, you may notice that people may be less likely to make decisions during this time. So just something to pay attention to there, Cancer. And with the moon being in Sagittarius, you might notice that you feel a little more inspired, Cancer. You might be feeling like you're full of ideas, and Sagittarius has a way of, they're very expansive energy, very about the mind and things along those lines. And you might even be feeling an impulse, Cancer, to maybe go on an adventure. Maybe you want to do a little more driving, go for a hike, maybe even plan like yourself a trip or anything along those lines. But also, Sagittarius is also a very spiritual sign, being Jupiter ruled. And so you might be wanting to get in touch with your, with just like that spiritual side of you, Cancer, getting to learn more about who you are, and just grow, Cancer. And you might be feeling a little more optimistic too, because Sagittarius always just bring that optimism, that enthusiasm. So work with this energy, Cancer. And that's kind of nice energy, you're coupling that with the first quarter phase here, because this is about kind of making, we're really kind of solidifying our decisions, making sure our actions are lining up with our words. Have you been noticing that things have been going smoothly, or have things been a bit of a challenge? Do we need to kind of tweak some things, maybe rearrange how we go about this stuff, or maybe we need to even like reevaluate, maybe we need to pull back and do maybe even a little less, or however that looks right there for you, Cancer. Just making sure that we're able to balance out these whatever it is, these things that we're setting are. Let me try that again. Mercury's retrograde now. My moon's in Gemini. I'm blaming it. But and that's shameless. But just making sure, like, if we're having troubles, Cancer. I lost my point. But just making sure that things are going smoothly on this journey here, Cancer. This is like the first sort of like kind of hard time, as far as like, the moon is forming a square with the sun, so it might be a little bit difficulties there. But then the last few things, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested interested, Cancer. But down below also are some links for some other readers that I like watching, so definitely check them out. Think you will really enjoy them, Cancer. But let's get to your general energy of the day. Oh, and speaking of challenges, Cancer, you got the fourth card of Capricorns, our opposite sign, which is the roadblock card. And with this card, this is a card of block change, barriers, challenges, time to regroup, stuck, paralyzed, obstacles, stalling, temporary setback, take a detour, not right now, one step forward and two steps back. Unless you're going to do a two-step back, Cancer. I'm with it. But the energy that's coming through here, there's enough jokes, Cancer. This is the time to regroup. And, Cancer, I feel like sometimes, when we're going about whatever it is that what we set out for lunar cycles, or just kind of life in general, when we try to maybe take on more than we can chew, and things start to like pile up, you go to plug one hole and then two more pop up in your boat. I'm not sure why you're on a boat, Cancer, but stay with me in this scenario. Because if we just find ourselves maybe kind of overwhelmed with maybe trying to work in this task while also kind of balancing out all the life stuff on top of that, instead of trying to force that thing along, that really does, if you do feel that sense of stress and anxiety and things, that is a great time to just kind of go void of course for a second and just kind of just gather yourself. Because if we keep operating from that place of like, stress and things, we're really kind of getting into a more sort of like reactive type of energy, and where that can just like exacerbate things, and that can even like wane on our self-esteem, over time, if we find that we can't, if we do try to go one step forward and then end up taking two steps back, that's disheartening after a while. So, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, needing to just kind of reevaluate things, and it's just like, what, maybe I did tackle a little bit too much during this, just using the lunar cycle for example, like whatever it is that you set out to do, maybe I did take on too much with this thing, and it's like when realizing that there's still maybe something from the previous cycle that still maybe needs a little work on. And it's fine to pivot, Cancer. Just because we set out on this thing, doesn't mean that you have to stick to that if it's going to be strengthening something else, but it just gives you a chance to kind of get a game plan for when we tackle it the next go around, we can do that. But I feel that it does, especially when we're trying to work in a routine and things along those lines. I feel like it takes a good, like at least a good lunar cycle, at least a good 28 days or so to really, for something to just kind of solidify there. I remember when I started like doing like walking, for example, every day. At first, it was going real smooth, and then life got a little hectic, and then they were getting a little spotty there, and it's just like you got to kind of tweak it a little bit. It's like maybe I can't walk in the morning all the time, but then maybe I can walk in the evenings, just like little things like that. It's like it kind of throws you off your routine a little bit, but we got to be a little flexible with these energies, because life likes to throw us curveballs all the time there, Cancer. But we're learning, we're growing, and that's, I feel like, as long as that's what's happening at the end of the day, that's something to really just keep in mind to keep you motivated there, Cancer. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. Okay, so let's see what's going on here, because I saw a ruler popping up here. Oh, and she's in reverse. Okay, that's fine. All right, small little reversal storm here. That's fine, Cancer. Oh, and the Queen of Moons has been following us quite a bit. And even so has the High Priest. I've not seen her pop up this much in a minute. So you have the Seven of Moons upright here, and then you have the Queen of Moons, the Knight of Swords, and then the High Priestess in reverse. And the moons in this deck, Cancer, are cups, and then the stars are pentacles. And let's talk about the Seven of Moons for a second, because the Seven of Moons is, I feel like, we're, and this might be something too, Cancer, maybe when we're setting out for these lunar cycles here, we are taking on a little bit more than we can chew there. It's like we want to tackle like all of the things at once, and where I do get wanting to get that sense of growth and like knock all these things out at once, it's it's one of those things I've noticed that when you do that, maybe at first, you know, you're feeling good, you've knocked out all of these things and you're feeling good, but then it's like you've just thrown a bunch of balls up in the air, you know, when just thinking about juggling. And it's just like, after a while, it's like you try to catch one and you're doing great, and then the other one's falling, then the other one's falling. It's just like, oh crap! Now things have become real challenging, and now we're getting to the sense of like we're feeling. I don't know. It's like it just like sort of like slows down our momentum a little bit. I feel like with the Knight of Swords being here, and then we just sort of like end up giving up and just getting right back into that same old, you know, the same old process again. But I feel like with the High Priestess here, I'm more so kind of getting more the kind of lunar aspect of it, because the High Priestess is associated by the moon. And I feel that if we don't give things a proper amount of time in order to grow, then we miss out on that. We miss out on that, Cancer. Like it just like it just I don't know. It just we end up kind of getting in our own way. I feel like with the High Priestess kind of being in reverse, and then instead of like properly like reflecting on the Queen of like with the Queen of Moons kind of popping up here and kind of showing ourselves this level of compassion and things, we can kind of get to this place where we may beat ourselves up, and it's just like, well, maybe I'm not meant to do this thing, and maybe I'll just always be like this. And you know, you see where that kind of spiral can kind of lead to, Cancer. And so I feel that especially if we do find ourselves just like maybe a little overwhelmed, that this is an energy to, again, to just to kind of regroup. Queen of Moons, reflect on what went wrong. You know, was it that maybe it wasn't even the fact that we took on too much, is like maybe how we went about it. Maybe we can streamline a few things, but it's just like we have to do it in like a different maybe order possibly, or something like that. You know, the Knight of Swords, sometimes when he's met with challenges, and if he I feel if he gets kind of thrown off course there, he's the type that just sort of like, well, whatever, we're just gonna kind of move on, we'll just kind of breeze through, and like, oh, we'll figure it out as we go, as opposed to really kind of having a game plan there, Cancer. But let me get a little bit more on this on the Knight of Swords here. Thank you. Let's see what's going on here, Cancer. I'm with it. Because you got the Knight of Swords is clarified by the Two of Swords, and then the King of Wands upright. A Sagittarius energy with this King of Wands. And, you know, Cancer, the Knight of Wands, he does have a lot of energy. And I feel that when we're thinking about growth and things, we can go with that level of enthusiasm and optimism at first. But I feel that there is a need, because maybe for some, it's just like we don't know where we want to start. So we just want to pick them all, you know. But I feel that there's a need to kind of weigh the options of which one is more immediate, that needs our attention. You know, where is, I don't know, and just like kind of really kind of listening to that intuition. It's like maybe we think we need to tackle this one thing, where it's like your intuition is telling you to go about another thing. You know, maybe, for example, let's say maybe if like our sleep has been off, but we decided to tackle our eat, like let's say we have a tendency to like overeat or something along those lines. Well, it's like we want to tackle the food thing, but it's like maybe the source of that may be in the sleep. You know what I mean? It's just like, I hope that that makes sense, Cancer. But I don't know, with this energy, I feel like it's just like when we're going through whatever challenges that we take on, and just wherever we may find ourselves overwhelmed with things, it's just like making sure that we take a moment and pause and really kind of have going with like a solid game plan, as opposed to just like, well, I'm just going to do like all the things, or I'm just going to whatever that may be looking like, Cancer. Alrighty. All right, Cancer. Let's get a little bit more on this. How are you feeling, Cancer, with Mercury going retrograde? Oh, wow. So there's Mercury, and it's definitely retrograde. So how are you feeling, Cancer, with this Mercury retrograde? I'm going to go ahead and double down on that. I love when higher self does stuff like that. Oh, let me get the rest of your cards, Cancer. But hopefully you're doing well. And you might be feeling that too, especially if you got like Gemini placements, Virgo placements. It's a little trickiness with the retrograde, but again, very, very good for reflective energy. But all right, Cancer. Let's see what's going on here. All right, Cancer. So you have the Knight of Moons, the Eight of Moons, and then the Magician in reverse, Mercury energy, and then you have the Ten of Moons upright. And you know, I feel like that for some, you know, there's this energy that the reason I feel like we may want to tackle everything all at once is because we just want to go ahead and get to our happily ever after, to being to the state of healed and being to the state of just everything that's done, you know, and you know, just like that everything is accomplished there. But I feel like it's more complicated than that, Cancer. You know, there's a lot that it comes into when it comes into this growth, into this journey. You know, we have to do stuff. There are these steps I feel like that need to be taken in order to successfully have that growth integrated into your routine and things. And I feel that with the Magician, we want to, I don't know, I'm almost getting like this sense of just like it's just like it's being mindful of how we're expending our energies, you know, how we think about I might need to get a little bit more with the Magician there, Cancer, but it kind of feels like with the Magician being here, it's like we have all the tools at our disposal, but it's just like maybe how we're utilizing. There we go. Maybe it's like how we're utilizing them is not as efficient as they could be. You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like that we just. I don't know. I'm almost getting with like the Knight of Moons. It's just like we feel that we that I almost just feel like we just want to be kind of over this stuff and like just to again just kind of be healed and be done with this thing. But there's always something to be working on, and I know where that can be a little discouraging sometimes because it's just like you get over one thing and then it's just like, well, gosh, now there's this other thing to work on. There's this other thing and this other thing. It's just like, when am I ever going to get to this state? In Cancer, we may never get to this complete, like, happily ever after, but bet we're going to get close, you know, because we only allotted so much time on this journey. And I feel like it's like making the most of this. And I feel like it's almost with the Knight of Moons, it's like finding the joy and the love for the growth and for the expansion, and that's where the abundance is. You know, it's a matter of that perspective, that Jupiter energy. And then we start really elevating, we start gaining this sense of wisdom, and then we can even pass down the tools that we've learned and the things that we've done for others to kind of help expedite the process. Because just like you've noticed, Cancer, it's like with every generation that comes, they seem to grow a little bit faster. You know, I was actually talking with someone, I remember talking with this Libra. They're a teacher, and we were talking about how this generation, I mean, they're just where they're at, it's so accelerated. You know, they're doing things that we were doing like in like my generation, like maybe in our 20s. They're like doing in their teens. It's wild, but there's a lot of growth that is happening from that, and I feel like that's fantastic because it's starting earlier as opposed to doing this growth and things later in life and having to play this long thing of catch up. So it's like where it may, you know, depending on where you're at in your journey, it may feel that there are things that may be a little unfair, but we can turn this around and really kind of pass down this wisdom and thing, Cancer, and help the soul tribe, even in a sense, kind of regroup there. But well, alright, dope. Okay, got all that stuff with Mercury there. That's a very interesting energy there, Cancer. But let's get some Let's get some advice from Papa Jupiter. And keep in mind there, Cancer, just a little sidebar. You know, Jupiter is exalted in our sign. You know, after Pisces and Sagittarius, he loves kicking in our sign. I feel like that's a great place to be and good with the plan of abundance and wisdom, luck, and all that stuff. So, just a little extra motivator there, Cancer. Alright, Cancer. Last little bit here. Alright, Cancer. So you have the Ace of Wands and then the Seven of Swords in reverse here. And then we have the Fool and the Hierophant upright. And I love that. Got a little divine counterparts going on here, Cancer. Let's switch back over. But, I'm almost kind of getting with the Hierophant here. Is that there's where it may not be again maybe fun or may not feel good at first to go with this maybe like kind of structured type of way of going about things. We may just kind of with the Fool just kind of want to just sort of jump in and just have everything kind of figured out there. But I feel that it's almost like with the Seven of Swords here, it's just that there's it's not that it's like there's a proper way to do, like I'm not even not getting like a sense of like I don't want to say like there's a proper way to do this, but there's a there's the trying to just tackle all the things and like just what I mean, Cancer. But and then there's a way of we can do this thing a little more efficient, like kind of work with our resources a little more. It's like I almost feel like there's like this mentality that it's just like, well, why can't I do it like this? Why can't it be this way? And again, it's not to say that it can't and that you can't tackle multiple things, but it's just like, is that an effective, it's like, thinking about the most effective way that we can do this stuff. It's like you can, again, like how I was saying, like we can maybe tackle maybe reason, like let's say like we're talking about with the overeating. It's just like maybe we tend to do this impulse eating because we may be stressed from we haven't got enough sleep. But so it's like if we get this sleep, this is bringing our stress levels down. This is bringing our where we're at impulses. It's like fixing a number of things. And then when we go to tackle this other stuff, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of go about this things, Cancer. But I just kind of feel, just kind of last little thoughts here. Just, I don't know, Cancer. I feel like with the Fool, like there's this energy. Just I feel like we just kind of want to jump in and just like expect. It's like, and I don't want to say you expect the like everything to just kind of work out, but let me get a little bit more with the Fool, Cancer, before we close out. Thank you. Oh, how interesting. Huh. So you got one of the sign that the Uranus is the Fool. Whereas you got the Star card here in reverse, and then you have the Two of Stars upright. And Cancer, I feel like in order to get this healing done, with whatever it is that we're tackling with the Star, there's an energy of just like it's paying attention to the flow, and it's like not trying to force this thing to happen. It's going to, things are going to come into place as they do. But with the Hierophant, there's a need for some patience there, and we're going to, and the Hierophant is a very wise figure as well. And I feel that there is going to be this. We'll see why we needed to go about this thing this way in the first place, because that's, Cancer, that's kind of what I used to do, sort of just like wanting to tackle all the things at once. And, we work for a spell, but then it was just like little things would still kind of like linger on there. And it wouldn't be like it was always in this place of like kind of got it together, but not fully, wasn't fully integrated. So, yeah, I hope that this makes sense, Cancer, but I think I'm going to leave that there. But, just something to think about. But if anything else resonated with you, Cancer, give it a thumbs up. And share this, because, And this, again, this doesn't just have to be in lunar cycle stuff. This could just be just general life things, trying to go about different challenges, and just when we're feeling stressed or when we're feeling this, it's just like, is the way we're going about it, how we're just like reflecting on the way that we're going about things, Cancer, maybe. But about to get back to your reading, but yeah, share this, Cancer. If you know someone who might be just been kind of just, I don't know, just kind of out of whack here, just trying to figure out like why isn't the flow working, like what is it that we keep, why do we keep having these setbacks or things along those lines. And then if you haven't already there, this is a very intuitive little pocket that you got here. Hi Priestess, hi Hierophant, you powerful intuitives. Subscribe, hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, check your sun, your moon, your rising, your Jupiter, your Mercury. Since Mercury wanted to pop out here, just check your chart, Cancer, your Uranus. And then come on over to my other channel, Alchemist 8. I do weekly videos there, monthly ones, yearly ones. I actually just got done doing Virgos not too long ago, but it's a good old time, Cancer. And all that housekeeping, it's down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here so I can get you out of here, Cancer. And you got the Three of Wands here upright. Three of Wands is about growth and about expansion. In Cancer, you see how long this road is, even though there's only three wands here. This journey is a long, and it doesn't have to feel so long, you know what I mean? But sometimes I feel like, growth takes time, and it's a matter of, as we're going through and experience these things, we do learn, and things do get a little shorter. It's just like as we start getting in the groove of this healing and this expansion and things, you get more tools in your tool belt here with the Seven of Swords, and you get more tricks, and you notice what works and what doesn't work, but that's going to come down to also with making sure we reflect on what worked and what didn't work, and not just like dismissing it and just sort of like, well, whatever, I guess this isn't just the way for me, you know what I mean, Cancer? And just kind of giving up to prematurely. But let me get your oracle cards here so I can get you out of here. Oh, Cancer. Now this card's kind of following you around a little bit. So you got the 22nd card, which is the Ergon Sacha, which is the Transfiguration card, which is essentially the Tower in reverse. And this is ruled by Mars and Pluto. And I feel like with this, Cancer, if we notice that the things that we want to change just hasn't been going well as of late. Again, this is a time, again, to kind of pause and to reevaluate how we may be going about it. Because it's like your heart's in the right place, your mind's in the right place, but it's just like the actions, like the drive or something along those lines. There's just like a disconnect somewhere. But, I do, more so when we think about the Tower in reverse, it is you taking charge of this growth, which is a fantastic thing, Cancer, and I feel like that gets you where you can handle like like we're just thinking as far as like aspects where squared situations where I feel like life kind of throws us curveballs and things. It helps you even navigate through that type of stuff there. But if we give up, then when challenges come, then it does become more overwhelming. We haven't quite developed those tools yet and developed those things that work for us. So just something to think about there, Cancer. I feel like just like, we might need to just kind of change things up. And that's the whole point of the first quarter phase. Things aren't working out and we notice stuff, haven't been challenges, is being flexible and figuring out, just really kind of charting out this progress here. But I think I'm going to leave that there, Cancer. So you stay safe out there with all this growth and learning and and especially if you've just been feeling stressed or been feeling frustrated or anything along those lines, Cancer, be compassionate with yourself too, just with the Queen of Moons being there, not even when she's not here, Cancer, just be compassionate with yourself. You're learning, you're growing, and that's what matters at the end of the day. You keep eyes on the moon, because she's been keeping eyes on you, Cancer. She wants you to grow. She's all about your expansion. When you grow, she's just through the roof, Cancer. And I will get you. on the next one tomorrow.